ASUN tip-off. 14-17 a season ago, 9-9 in ASUN play. They won 4 of their last 5, though, Coach Driscoll, to get yourself into the ASUN tournament. Tell me what you learned about this team from last year, those final games, when you knew you had to win, you had to fight your way to get in, and your team did just that for you.
Well, in the last 5 years, in February, we're 27-9, including COVID when we had no home games. So really, 26-6 in February, and it seems to be something that we've really done a good job with from our guys, from our physical standpoint, and from the mentality. The schedule is usually very, very difficult in the non-conference. It gives us a challenge, and sometimes that challenge and the way in which it's presented doesn't allow our guys maybe some opportunities to have some kind of a feeling, a good feeling, so to speak. However, this year, administration has done an amazing job. 16 home games, our own MTE, and the ability to have a little bit of a different, even though still 5 high majors, still the ability to get something going leading in. So we believe that October is perception. It's all about what's written on the paper, and we know that reality is March. So we're excited about where we are.
So if we can rename every month in February, you're ready to go and get the season going. You mentioned this schedule, and you mentioned having that in-season tournament and having the ability to host that and having some key non-conference games. How do you focus in on the preseason or pre-conference, if you will? Is it a matter of finding rotation, finding depth? Is it a matter of finding out more about your guys? How do you, what do you, everybody wants a W. I understand that. But what do you really focus on in non-conference play?
Making sure that we take care of the details, not just the details, but the littlest detail, which makes the biggest difference. And we understand the poem, it's only one possession, is a great poem, but the one at the 4-minute mark of the first quarter is as important as the one at the 4-minute mark in the second half. And so we've really got to understand that and continue as we move through that non-conference schedule to get into the league, because our league has always been an amazing league from top to bottom, and teams have always done well. The coaches' poll, in my opinion, is a poll that has a little bit more merit because they know us a little bit better. We know them a little bit better, and the players and whatnot. So the fact that we're picked 11th out of 12 teams, the lowest I've ever been picked in my 15-year career, it says a lot about where we are and about who we are. But our guys understand that all that stuff is cannon fodder. What really matters is between the lines.
When you look at this team and you look at your style of play, last season 881 three-point attempts on the season. Is it safe to say that there is a style of play to Osprey basketball?
There's no doubt. Birds of Trey has definitely taken a new meaning. We came to the forefront many years ago. 2 of our 3 championships in the last 9 years, we led the country in three-point shooting. Last year we finished 2nd in three-point makes. And when you look at this group and the way in which we build it with some transfers, and also, too, with what we have coming back, and you think about it, 5.8 points per game is our leading returning. However, we are really, really, really a team that's built on massive numbers and the ability to really stretch and shoot it. But we know that the greatest bang for your buck is a free throw. So layups and dunks and wide open threes has always been and will always be what's at the forefront.
You mentioned those returning scorers. You mentioned Oscar Berry, who's with us here. Oscar, 4.8 points per contest a season ago. But you're going to be leaned on this year to up that ante. Are you ready to accept that challenge and take on what's available?
Oh, absolutely. You look at our roster from last year, and we had some amazing guys on that roster. But coming into this year, we understand that me and the guys around me that we need to step up. And not only that, but the guys we brought in are ready to take on the challenge. And I think that we're all locked into the same goal, and I think that's really going to take us far.
Dorian James with us as well from the Ospreys. And last year, key player off the bench. This year, you're going to be more counted on, in my expectation, I won't put words in coach's mouth, to be that number 1 guy, to get that first guy. How do you take that preparation you use to be the 6th or 7th man off the bench to being in that starting 5?
I mean, Coach Driscoll and the rest of the coaching staff has prepared me in the best way possible. I'm always ready to come and play and contribute at whatever moment it is, whether it's off the bench or if it's starting. I'm going to go in there, do what I do, and do what I can to help our team win.
And you know what's crazy? 6 years, 24 years old. You know that new NBA load management thing that came out? He came to the office with a copy of it and said, Coach, we probably need to work on some of these
every
numbers.
4th day off? Is that what you're telling me?
I tell you what, he's just an amazing human being, and he's been a bright spot. He's coached. He's played for me as a coach for 40% of my career. So you talk about someone that we love dearly, and it's been great for UNF.
Chaz Lanier, a Tennessee guy. Glad to have you back in your home state for a couple of days here.
Yes,
but more importantly, we'll get you back for UNF to start the regular season.
Yes,
45% shooting from the floor. You have that ability to either put it on the bounce and create or set your feet and shoot. Where's the best position for Chaz Lanier to contribute to this year's North Florida team?
Well, every day, I mean, in practice, we go out and compete. So my teammates, they just instill that confidence in me to take those tough shots, make shots, and they just push me to be better, and I push them to be better. So whatever it looks like, however many points, rebounds it takes to win, that's what I'm going to do.
At the end of the day, that's what you want, that
You
W.
know, if Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, Brady never comes about, right? If Favre doesn't do it, he does. Rodgers never comes about, right? That Joker scored 45 points in our first 14 games in the ASUN. He scored 53 in the last 5. And now that opportunity has come up, and he's really, really done a great job to make sure he's prepared for that. And he also understands what that leadership looks like as well, too. So that's exciting for me as a coach.
I'll ask you three the same question, and you all answer it as you want. The style of play. Obviously, you talked about the birds of Trey and that setup and then getting back. What kind of challenges does that offense present to your opponents? How does this benefit you all on both ends of the floor, the style of play that comes across for Osprey basketball?
I mean, like Coach said, layups, dunks, wide open threes, it opens up a lot on the floor. So if we're making a lot of threes, layups and dunks are going to be more open. We're making a lot in the paint, it's going to open up three-pointers. So we're going to be able to score from all aspects of the game.
Yeah, just to add on to that, we defend the three really well too.
Yes.
So I think a great point is that we're heading into the game knowing that we're going to have an advantage because we already know that we're going to shoot more threes than the other team. And that instills a lot of confidence in us, and that I think that would really fear the other team because when you shoot threes, anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure. The type of guys coach recruits, we're not just three-point shooters. I will put that out there. I mean, we got –
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got a lot of playmakers, get downhill, make plays. So we're very versatile, not just shoot threes, for sure.
What's Coach say? Ballers make plays, dudes are dudes, right?
Yes,
That's
sir.
the way life works.
Yes, sir.
Coach, you had a lot of turnover with your roster. And you lost some guys to graduation, not just what a lot of teams are facing nowadays with turnover in roster. How do you quickly acclimate those new faces and new pieces of the puzzle with the guys you've got returning?
I think the one thing that we have to understand is the landscape's going to change every single year. You know, Coach Hamilton was really at EKU, was gifted that those guys came back. And I know there was whatever was presented to them is presented to them. But it's just the way it is. And if we sulk in that and we worry about that and we sleep in that, then we're going to have a hard time moving forward with what's the reality of these are who we have. So what are we going to do with this group and the way in which we're going to mold them together? We averaged about 53 attempts a game down in Costa Rica, and we took another 41 yesterday in our scrimmage. So I know one thing, we have a higher level amongst the guys as far as guys who really hunt them out, so to speak. And I think that really bodes well for us as we move. And as they start to gel and come together, we know what that means. It's about ready to turn that corner into 2024. And I think that excites me really, just with their skill level.
I know we don't have the crystal ball. I know if it was you did, we'd all have a whole lot easier time taking the court together. What's that one aspect of this team you really need to see improve heading into 23-24 to find yourself the top of the ASUN rankings?
When you look at this old saying, we know old sayings are really good or else they wouldn't be around, right? So it ain't rocket science, right? Defending's great, scoring's great, but what's the most critical thing in between? When you defend, you got to complete with a rebound. When you complete with a rebound, you play faster to the other end. When you play faster to the other end, you get an opportunity to get offensive rebound. So that rebounding part is really critical to what we're trying to do. So we have to understand what that looks like, but most importantly, how it looks as a group. Because we may not have the tallest guys or the most vertical guys, but the one who's the most physical, the earliest, is always going to win.
Coach Matt Driscoll and the Osprey get started here in just a couple of weeks of the ASUN tip-off. Let's flip the script and talk a little women's basketball from North Florida when we return here at ASUN Media Day.